Obi-Wan Kenobi Episode 5. The worst thing about this episode is that it means there's only one episode left in the entire series. Now, I know this series has had its critics. Some people don't like Star Wars, I guess. No, some people have legitimate, issues with some things in the series. For me personally, I've loved major moments in it. It hasn't been perfect, but then again, what is? But it's had some huge moments in it. And this episode in particular had a couple of huge moments in it. I was critical of episode 4 last week, episode 4 of Obi-Wan, not episode 4, the movie. I was critical of that one last week for some stupid things in it. But in this episode, there were some really cool things. In particular, Vader just looking stronger and stronger each time they show him. This time, pulling down a ship which is flying away. Reminiscent of the Force Unleashed video game where you have to pull a Star Destroyer down from the sky, and a very irritating thing at the time. It was really cool, but at the same time it was really difficult to do. Well, it was the first time I did it. But in the series, Vader is pulling the ship down and he just tears it apart like it's made of Swiss cheese. He just disintegrates the ship, showing how strong his powers have become. One of the biggest things we saw in the prequel movies was when Count Dooku was taking these big cylinders and just throwing them around like they were bananas. Just one thing that came to mind. Now, some people might say, well, if he was so strong, why couldn't he tell the other ship was there? Why couldn't he tell that the other ship was about to fly away? Well, they explained that in the episode, because in the episode, we get the flashback to when Obi-Wan and Anakin were training together, which was pretty cool, even though Anakin, was suddenly 40 years old. That was kind of weird. But in that scene, Obi-Wan tells Anakin, your need for victory blinds you from what's around you. And that's very much what happens at the end. Vader is going to get his victory. He's going to get Obi-Wan again. He tears the ship apart that was flying away, believing that all the people and Obi-Wan was on that one, completely blind to the other ship. Nice little tie-in. And they've done really well throughout this series of tying in other things. Now, the series has had its issues. Like, even to the point where it had the episode with the mole guy, and he was basically just a mole. He wasn't a great creature creation, he was just a mole. Just a human-sized mole that could talk. Kind of weak character creations. Now, I mentioned last week that at some point, Leia is going to have some sort of memory wipe. She has to have some sort of memory wipe or traumatic event to forget Obi-Wan. In episode 4, the movie, she sends that message to Obi-Wan saying, you served my father in the Clone Wars. Not, hey, remember me when you saved me a few years ago? Because it's only been 9 years since you did that. She has to either forget him somehow or have a memory wipe or something. But the final episode of Obi-Wan Kenobi is going to be an hour and a half long. It's effectively another Star Wars movie. And I'm really hoping we get some cool tie-ins here, because Qui-Gon Jinn could come back. That would be pretty awesome. Even as a Force vision, or just Obi-Wan sees a vision of him, that would be pretty awesome. Who knows, we might get Darth Maul. Emilia Clarke is someone I thought might pop up in the series at some point. She was in Solo. It should be in or around that same time. That'd be an interesting little tie-in. There's so much they could do in that final episode. Despite the series having minor issues, nothing major, a couple of minor faults here and there, just stupid sound effects, weird clothing, issues like that. From a Star Wars fan's perspective, in my opinion, the series has been awesome. It had so many tie-ins to the Clone Wars, to Rebels, to various different Star Wars elements. And I just loved every minute of it. Well, episode 4 was a bit. Even the part where Vader has Reva on her knees and he's walking towards her ominously. He has the 2 lightsabers. You think he's going to do what he did to Count Dooku. That would have been pretty cool if he did. But the whole thing of stabbing her and then saying, you didn't think I knew who you were, youngling, that was pretty damn cool, because saying that he knew she was one of the younglings infers that he knew who she was all along and he had no remorse for what he did. He was 1 step ahead of her, if not 7 steps ahead of her, all the way along. Now, it will be interesting to see what happens when she picked up that communicator at the end, which had Bail Organa's message on it. What's going to come of that? Is she going to give that to Vader and be like, sorry, I'm on your side now because you're clearly very strong? Or will she bring it to Obi-Wan and be like, hey, don't leave your communicators around, that's stupid. He could have just found it. Reva's been a cool character, but characters like that who've become prominent in these series, these prequels to the original movies, more or less have to be killed off if they're affecting the main timeline, because why wouldn't they have been in the main movies then? So, one episode to go. I would love to know your opinions on Obi-Wan Kenobi, the series so far, and what you expect from the final episode.